final frontier.
Explored by 4 Pioneer wannabes
in a rented SUV.
Produced by the Dungans and the Duns.
Directed by Chris Dungan.
Starring
in alphabetical order Carol,
here.
Chris,
Wiley.
Okay, we're now outside of Anchorage, passing Chugach Mountains National Park. Those are the Chugach Mountains. We're on our way to the Portage Glacier. These are more of the Chugach Mountains along the Seward Highway. We're now in Big Game, Alaska, near Lake Portage, looking at bison. We're still at Big Game, Alaska, and we have spotted a moose. Now we're looking at the female moose. Doesn't have a rack. Go back over there. There's the female moose. This is a caribou. Waiting for somebody to feed her, I think. Him. Here we have a caribou who's missing a horn. Hey, Wiley. Dick.
He was back there when
He's missing a horn. Hey, Carol.
Hi.
We're still in Big Game, Alaska, and this is a wild musk ox off there in the distance. This is a Alaskan baby black bear. I don't think poor thing's too happy being locked up.
Yeah, Daisy.
We're still looking at the Chugan Mountains, and this one appears to have blue snow. There are red salmon running in the water here. I don't know if this is going to show up.
Oh, there's one. Look at him. You can see the fin. What's come out. The color is all you got.
We're watching the salmon.
But I saw a fin of one come out.
Oh, there's two down there.
Yeah. Oh, there's one. Yeah, see, no,
They're trying to...
Wenn wir mal unter die Brücke schauen.
Ja.
Da? In. Unter die Brücke.
Yeah, right here you can see some.
I don't know if I'm getting any of this.
There is some.
I wonder if I got it. I see fin was sticking out. Oh, look at that.
Missed it 'cause I'm looking.
Here's a big red one. Look at that. Ooh, he's coming this way. Look at him. Oh, he's went back in the side.
We're on the Ptarmigan in Portage Lake, and we're approaching Portage Glacier. Blue snow, blue ice, sea up ahead. This is Portage Glacier.
Portage Glacier at Cartown, Fire Lake, carved out these walls over here, these dramatic 30-round walls. And some of the claw marks of the glacier retreating back hill rather than having to downhill because the rock along the way kind of drags through existing plans to use those.
Piece of glacier that calved off.
There's a lot of rocks creating a large internal marine dam so that when they retreat, plug in the lake goes out of here. And all this water here, 4.5 miles long, 250 feet deep, is all salt water. That's Portage Glacier. Portage Glacier kind of goes back roughly 4.5 miles. About a half-mile wide.
Here's celery.
Portage Glacier. We're on the Seward Highway now, going down for our Iditarod, and what we're looking at now are called mud flats. Okay, the mud flats are gone. Now we're looking at the mountains. But you can't walk on the mud flats because they're like quicksand. We're looking at some more mud flats. More mud flats. Yeah. Not, yeah, I can't. There it is. We're now in the seaport town of Seward. We're driving through Seward on our way to the Iditarod. This is the seaport town of Seward. Here we are. We're ready to go on the Iditarod in the rain. Dick's all geared up there in his rain gear. Muck luck of the north.
Ready to go. Ready for the rain, huh?
Dick?
Stick is for Labrador Retriever. We sometimes do, but the thing is, if we ever plan on selling that dog, it's more valuable if we leave it intact instead of being one that you use for breeding and things. So we typically don't have too many spayed or neutered dogs for some time. We keep the females separate when they come in the season, things like that. But don't worry, you're tied to the tree or the wall back here. You're not going to go anywhere until we're ready for you to. And let me get your cameras. I'll get set up and get some pictures for you. We have you when the mailman comes around.
Devil's club. Devil's what?
Club. Yeah. Kind of a nasty plant, actually. It's got a lot of spines and sticker, little pokey things on it.
It's the kind that usually flourish.
Yeah, it seems that way. Nothing wants to eat them or mow them down.
It's like weeds in your yard.
Sweet dog. It's good to see.
Yes, very good.
Wile E. Coyote. Doesn't she look like Wile E. Coyote?
She does kind of look like a coyote or something.
Wile E.
Looks like they have whippet.
Oh, is that why? Top of that, we'll wear this right here. This is just a windproof shell, some water-resistant layers and stuff on it as well. It's got this fur ruff here, which we use to keep our faces warm, and just put this foot up and hold it down and kind of cinch things up like that, and it gives you a little bit more, protection on your face. It helps to, kind of keep that frostbite at bay a little bit. You'll also use ski goggles and a face mask if you really have to out there as well. Our pants are very similar to Cook System, only the pants are a one-piece deal where they just got a windproof layer this one right over the foam, like you see here. So nothing too complex really about the pants there. The boots, kind of a moon boot. So, kind of the next generation moon boot or something. You see, we sometimes send our brake claws into our toes, so we've got patches up there. He's wearing just the, here he's got like the outer shell on this picture, the black one. But here he's just got the foam liner on instead of that outer shell, and that's what...
We are now in Kenai Peninsula National Park, and we hiked a really long distance to get up close and personal with this glacier. Dick? Carol? Hi.
You guys get up in front here. I'm going to still pick Carol already.
All right. We came from way down there somewhere. We crossed that little bridge. We walked a long way before we got to that little bridge. And then we climbed up this really big hill to see this glacier. Kenai Fords National Park glacier. I'm standing here in the rain, getting wetter by the second. The scenery is incredible. Mountains. There's Dick. Very nasty weather. Really nasty weather. We're in Denali National Park, and over in the distance are a couple of grizzly bears. Oh, there it is. That's as close as I can get. You can't see much.
And it's almost like, they got a path where they stay up overnight high there, and then they come through they've been through the Savage Cabin area, through the cabin area, through that sort of west roof of the campground, and then back out to the drainage behind it. And they haven't, they just ignore people.
Getting a little bit more each time. Geez, I'm going to run out of film.
Yeah.
Grizzlies.
Well, I'm on 25 and a 24-roll film, so somebody's up there watching me. Well, it sounded kind of
I'm
Find
getting it.
out when you get a development.
There it goes.
Oh, I'm getting it good now. There
Oh,
goes the
great,
grizzly.
Great. Where's the other one coming from? The other one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Everybody's run out of film.
Rewinding too, huh?
Oh, look at that. I have a much greater appreciation for cameramen. We're at the Touch of Wilderness Bed and Breakfast in Healy, just outside of Denali National Park. And this is our room. And there's Dick.
Yeah.
Oops. This is a little sitting room in the B&B. And there's Carol out in the lounge. The gorgeous view outside the windows. Oh, there's Wiley over there. Hi, Wiley.
Candid camera.
Fireplace. Beautiful view of the wilderness. Breakfast tables. Oh. This is the downstairs lounge.
You ever see any moose or bear or anything go by here? This is like a pasture.
Well, there's
There's
news
the
out
dining
there.
room through there.
Pictures of them and everything. And the bear luckily comes in the nighttime.
Yeah, well, that's true.
We saw
We
a
thought
couple
maybe
in
you
park
could take
now.
pictures or something. We didn't want to go out and shake hands.
No. That was kind of neat. We saw two just now in the park.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
park,
visiting.
yeah, we.
Did you guys go to Savage or something?
Pardon?
Did you go to Savage River
No,
or something?
Mm-mm.
And we
It
just
was in
we
the
had a-
park.
Rode in and back out, and there was a bunch of
Yeah, that's
people.
Savage.
park
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think it's shorter. Down here.
We're right outside of Denali National Park. And that's Dick and Wiley and River Rapids up ahead. I think that's the Nenana River. Rapid running water. There's Carol attempting to
Drive,
negotiate.
Texas River.
negotiate this rock path over the water. Dick and Wiley are already out there.
Everybody wants to come after me in the river.
There go the rapids. Dick! Hey, Dick! Rapids of the Nenana River. Okay, Carol and Dick and Wiley are up with this giant grizzly bear. He's about to, Dick, you gotta rescue her. Fight the bear. This is a view of the mountains in Denali National Park.
It's just a railroad going across there or something, huh? Yeah, it is, I think.
Here's where the railroad train goes. Along the mountains. We're outside of Denali, waiting to go on the tour of Denali, and this is the view from the chalet where we're waiting for the bus. And there's Carol and Wiley loading up to get on the bus.
Loading up with food and fried fish.
There's Dick over there looking at the scenery. Hey, Dick. Dick? Flowers that actually grow here in the summer. Okay, here's Dick standing near the official sourdough sign. If he stayed here 11 and a half more months, he could be a sourdough. There's Carol and Wiley in front of our rented SUV. It's a little worse for wear. There's the Northern Lights gift shop, where our gifts came from.
Wrapped up, I had my weekend this last week, just the last couple of days ago, and so I've been out. But females have been banding up with the young ones, and better move, or my goose will be cooked. And that is a caribou.
Caribou.
And he's got his warm coat. He's pretty much overheated right now. But he's sitting up there, and oh, did you see him moving? Yeah, see? It's amazing what they do with animatronics. No, this ain't no Disneyland. Yeah, that's a nice male too. That's a nice male caribou. You see how the antlers swing up and then over their ears and neck, and then they swing back up over their heads? Yeah, that's a nice young one, probably. Maybe a couple of years old. Giving us a good
Yeah,
profile right there.
they're pretty overheated. I mean, they've got some of the warmest fur on the face of the planet, and they are. That's why he's standing so stuck. That doesn't sound like a bad dish, does it? Parmesan, tarragon, ptarmigan. That fast 3 times.
State bird, the ptarmigan.
Oh, look at how they run. They're not flightless, though. They do fly, but they're not real good flying.
Another caribou.
Nice profile.
Grazing in Denali.
Oh, sure. Well, I was thinking, I was up far enough.
Here where these bushes are.
Nice big rack. Yeah, that's a nice.
Right, you can actually see what Bobby's cut up there.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, he
Caribou.
And, yeah, there's some washrooms there for you. It's a little primitive, I know, but
Mount McKinley would be there if it wasn't covered by clouds. State bird, the ptarmigan. Get a good shot of the ptarmigan.
Okay, let's do it right down here.
Look like a quail, don't they? Bigger.
Bigger than that. What?
analogy. Well, I'm not quite sure. The males usually have the red eyebrows. You know, the males in the species are a lot more flashy. And can you see the feet? Can you see how many feathers are on the feet? They'll grow really a lot more feathers, and they'll change all white in the wintertime. And they're eating the rocks? Oh, the feet are in the rocks? Oh, yeah. For their crops, yeah.
They're not afraid of us, are they?
That's a real young one, and then I'm not sure if that's mom or dad. There's a couple ones coming out of the rocks.
Oh, yeah, see where that was?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people were wondering, they wanted to name, there was a town that wanted to name the town after the bird. They're fairly prolific in places.
He just came out the bush.
And they said, yeah, let's name it. And someone said, yeah, okay, there's a P in front of the word. And they're like, yeah, sure, right, T-A-R. He said, no, it's like ptomaine or pterodactyl. And they're like, what? He said, yeah, like that. He said, oh, the heck with it, we're just going to call the town Chicken. There's a little town called Chicken up there. Yeah.
Caribou off in the distance.
Throw him a bone. He's doing a good job.
He has a dark green shirt on.
Dark green shirt on.
Really? There's someone.
There's a grizzly bear out there. Black grizzly. It's moving now. Storing up for the winter, trying to fatten up for the winter.
Okay. Well, everybody got a good view of that. We should probably keep going. I don't want Park Service. Oh, he's coming back. I got to get going.
We're at Gold Dredge number 8 in Fairbanks. Carol's having a caramel. And this is a...
Wiley's sneaking one, too.
Okay. This is a National Historic District. Dick and Carol talking by the pot-bellied stove at Gold Dredge number 8. And Wiley is perusing the map to figure out where we're going to go. We just had our gold miners' lunch. Still at Gold Dredge number 8. There's Carol standing next to something they must use when they mine gold. Something like a wheelbarrow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so good at this.
Goldridge number 9. Oops, wrong way. Yeah. There's Carol and Wiley.
And here are Dick and Wiley and Carol panning for gold. Panning for gold at Goldridge number 8. Looking for the mother lode. Just shaking those pans. Looking for gold. Just stick that pan in the trough, dig up some dirt from the bottom and shake it out, and the gold sinks to the bottom. They're all working away there. Working away, panning for gold.
Yeah, but when you find something that's not even bigger than you expect it to be, fly good. Like I. It's kind of hard to keep your... Woo-wee! Look at this.
This is Goldridge number 8. It was a working gold mine, and now it's a National Historic Site. This is where we panned for gold and found $6 worth of gold. And here's Dick the super miner. This is at Goldridge number 8. This is the bunkhouse. It's a nice moose rack. This is the bathhouse. A long sink inside there. There's the dredge master's cabin. Carol. Hey, Carol. More shots of the bunkhouse and the moose rack. Right. Collection of Ice Age bones. Mammoth. Bison.
They did very similar things to out in Ohio. The coal, the open pit mining.
Railroad car from the Alaska Railroad. A scene from the dredge master's house. The mess hall, where we had lunch, a coal miners or gold miners lunch. Okay, Dick says that machine sticking up in the air there is some kind of winch. I'm not sure how to interpret that. Hey, Dick. Okay, here we are in the warehouse at Gold Dredge number 8.
That was a joke again, Jim.
No, no. Where they keep all their supplies. Where they did. For the miners.
Need a colander crew? Have one.
Oh,
Soup places?
hey Wiley. There's a long view of the camp at Gold Dredge number 8. It's the dining mess hall. This is an Alaska Railroad car, and there's Dick and Carol standing inside the car. This is the final shot of Gold Dredge number 8. We're now at the part of the Alaskan pipeline, just outside of Fairbanks. And there you see. Goes off into the distance. And Dick taking a picture of the pipeline. The pipeline is 800 miles long. The pipeline is 800 miles long and supplies more than 20% of the U.S. domestic oil. There's Dick and Wiley and Carol. Well, Dick's out of the way now. Dick? This is a view from our lodge just outside of Fairbanks. Those pretty pink clouds have a rainbow in there, but I don't think it's showing up much anymore. That's Dick out there, trying to find Mount McKinley, which if it were visible, would be over here. We're now outside of Fairbanks at the Taste of Alaska Lodge, Taste of Alaska, something. And way off in the distance, a little silver line is the pipeline. And over that way, if the clouds weren't there, would be Mount McKinley. There's the pipeline. And this is the view from our room. It's a cloudy day. Here's the lodge where we're staying. Dick and Wiley approaching the SUV. There again in the distance is the pipeline. There's the pipeline. Now in North Pole, Alaska, and we're about 150 miles south of the Arctic Circle. And it's raining and it's cold in North Pole, Alaska. There's Carol and Wiley standing in front of the North Pole, Alaska sign, waiting to have Dick take their picture. And hopefully we won't all get run over. We're about to have dinner before we go to the Malamute Saloon later tonight at the northernmost Denny's in the world. So we have come all the way to Alaska to eat.
And they have their fuel tanks up there on the shore. Now when this river ices up mid-October, they'll pull the plane up on the lawn, drain the fluids out, it leaves the floats on all year. They don't remove the landing gear.
They're on the riverboat Discovery.
And we can pretty much bet that things will be frozen up by mid-October. In fact, I have 3 kids. They've always trick-or-treated at about 20 below or colder. Guys, we persevere. Keep the heat in the living room, but they allow those folks to sit in there and look out and still stay warm. And that's really important in our cooperative power line that runs down the road on either side. We heat our homes pretty much with warm water circulating inside. It's a hot water, oil-fired baseboard heating system. Some folks still heat with wood. That's, of course, handy to heat things, including this little hot tub in this yard on the right-hand side. Now, they build a fire, a regular spruce log fire under that tank. Cook. Now, for many years, Captain Jim Binkley had quite a clientele for his skills and his vocation. 6,000 Eskimos and Indians and 2,500 Caucasians were the benefactors of this freight service.
There is a puppy day for us. We've had 5 litters born so far this summer. This group here is the youngest. They're 4 weeks of age, and they're really getting to a fun stage because they're starting to be able to get around pretty well. You know, we like to be with the mothers right at birth to make sure that everything goes safely, but most importantly, to be able to bond with the puppies. And although their eyes are shut for the first 10 days of their life, they have a very good sense of smell. So we like to pick up each puppy individually and blow across their noses. And they start to get a sense of us right from the beginning. And this bonding, of course, continues throughout their entire lives. But it is really important here in the early months. adventure that we have, and also the beginnings of a trust-to-be-trusted relationship. And that's pretty easy to do because there's so many obstacles out there on the trail. There's some water to swim through, some steep cliffs to go up, some big rocks to climb over. And we're there to encourage them over the obstacles, praise them on the other side, but most importantly, if it's too much for them, then we're there to lift them over it. And this way, they can start to understand that we'll be there for them at every stage of their life. And that is most important when they start running in harness and racing, that they can understand that we'll never...
And people observed how efficiently they traveled on the snow, and they had a wonderful idea. They hitched them to their sleds, and their lives changed forever. Because they could now take them places they'd never dreamed of going. They gathered more food. Things got better, so they rewarded the dogs for all this hard work by giving them consistent care and a much better diet. So the relationship flourished, and the results, I see it every day out here. Now, the first thing I noticed really is what a long and healthy life they live. I'm sure Susan told you they can live 15 to 18 years. Most of the dogs on my team today are between 10 and 12 years of age. That's between 70 and 84 in human terms. Now, there are two exceptions. There are two juveniles here. Do you think you can pick them out? Right. These two right here. Actually, so is she, but she's on probation right now. So, now the second thing is these dogs have adapted to the environment that we live in. And now the next thing that happened is these dogs adapted to the work they do, which of course is running. They've got very, very tough feet. They have thick pads and heavy calluses that protect them during the 2,000 to 3,000 miles each dog runs every winter. But again, there's a condition where I give them added care. One is abrasive snow, it's like sandpaper, and the second is fresh snow. And what fresh snow will do is create little ice crystals between their toes to rub and irritate them. So, sorry about that. You're getting more than you paid for here. So if I see that developing, I stop my sled. Now, if I have a 20-dog team in front of me, I have to take 80 booties out of my supply and put one in each foot. It takes over an hour with mittens on to put them on, so I'll just put one on to show you how it goes. Now, let's see. Who should I put it on today? I'll put it on Baleen over here. I think he'll volunteer.
Baleen, can I have a foot? Baleen.
Western culture less than 100 years ago. Now the prospectors did arrive into the interior by the steamboats, and these prospectors were soon followed by missionaries, traders, and also trappers. And these new people and their ways brought many changes to the Athabascan way of life. Now also the merchants began to build trading posts that they did trade for the saw and the axe, and they began to build permanent cabins similar to the one right behind me here. And cabins like this can still be found in Athabascan villages today. Now this cabin here was built from materials found right off the land here. Spruce trees were cleared from this site, peeled and used for the walls. The gaps in between the logs is chinked with moss for extra insulation. Now the roof is also from young spruce trees. These were also peeled. These were laid flat across the top. It was then covered with a layer of spruce bark, and it was then weighted down with sod. So notice the grass on top of this roof. This is a desired effect. It does present erosion, and the roofs also form a natural barrier to the rain as well. We usually had to replace the roof about every 5 to 7 years. Some of you are probably wondering what these antlers were used for. These were TV antennas. Just strictly for decoration purposes. But we do have two examples of earlier cabins. You'll notice the one here left that we all just passed by here, this gray one here, line cabin. Now cabins like these were usually built about a day's journey apart along winter slack lines. Now anybody was welcome to use cabins like these. The only rule was that you had to replace anything that you used on your return trip back. And it probably doesn't look like much to you, but to a hunter and a trapper, it's definitely a welcome sight at the end of a long, cold day. Now we're ready to move on. There's water, and they would start the tedious process of rotating hot rocks from the fire until it finally came to a boiling point. This process could take about 3 to 5 hours long. As it first, Lois moss and Baby was strapped in, and when Baby soiled the moss, all Mama had to do was take Baby off, jump out the moss, bury it, and start all over again. So there we have your first biodegradable, disposable diaper. Here is a few important announcements. I'd like to say in Athabascan language, Anabati, which is safe for your life to enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you now have about 10 to 15 minutes to roam around the village on your own, ask questions and take
The Chena Village outside of Fairbanks, and that's a sod roof.
Okay, we just wanted to say goodbye to everybody here. Thank you very much for visiting us here at Chena Village. Thanks a lot. Every 24-hour period, 100,000 tons of this dust goes by this spot. I said, are you sure about that, Doctor? He said, well, actually, Jay, we might be a little off, but if we are, we're probably on the low side. Probably more than 100,000 tons every day. Remarkably strong forces at work grinding that mountain range up and creating all this silt, and yet the salmon swim right through it. All right, we're going to carefully make our turn here and head back up the Chena.
There's a little, plane that the bush pilots fly on pontoons.
This is getting good with that cow.
Well, see the house.
Oh, I get you.
Nice, gorgeous house.
Oh. Well, he said $40,000 for a lot.
Shall I get a picture of that one in case that's the one you want to buy? Okay. That's a nice house there. Nice house.
Huh?
Nice looking house.
Very big. Pretty.
Built by hand.
You don't have to have that big, you just have to have it.
So you walk away from it for a year after you go.
Louder.
This is the Pump House restaurant where we had lunch earlier before we came on the Riverboat Discovery.
Prices here weren't that bad.
No, it was pretty good.
Turn over that kayak.
That little kayak looks like fun.
And a couple young captains here to
Here is Dick in front of the Riverboat Discovery that we just took a 3-hour ride on down the Chena and Tanana River. And there's Carol and Wiley. Wiley's eating some Alaskan blueberry ice cream. It's called Alaskan Hot Licks ice cream. Let's see that blueberry, Wiley. Doesn't that look good? Okay, we're at our Base of Alaska Lodge outside of Fairbanks. And here is our view of Mount McKinley, which is starting to be covered with clouds, but we can still see it. Off in the distance. It's 120 miles from here.
It's 120 miles away. Kinley is 120 miles away.
Yeah, I heard her and I said that.
Oh, okay. Well, I can hardly see it from here with my camera.
You know what river this is?
Probably says down here.
Tanana. It's the Tanana River. That was a good picture of the gravel path we just walked down to get to the view of the Tanana River, since I forgot that the camera was still on. The Tanana River and the pipeline. I don't think we're going to be able to read this. This is the head of a female bison killed in 1986.
By Chris and Carol.
Well,
On a hunting trip
okay.
to Alaska.
This is the bison from a different angle. Still at Delta Junction. Okay, we're now in Delta Junction, which is the beginning of, for us anyway, the beginning of the Alaskan Highway. We're about to drive on the Alaskan Highway.
You want to ride on the Alaskan Highway, huh?
You have to allow enough time to read it. Here we are in Tok, Alaska. I hope not. A town of about 900 people in the cleft of the rock, bed and breakfast in our little common room, which comes equipped with a Nordic track so we can try to work off all the food we've been eating. There's one of the bedrooms. And here's our little kitchen. And that's the bathroom. And over here is the other bedroom. And this is the door to go outside. No, but I think this is a nice place. There's Carol and Wiley sitting on the sofa in the common room, watching television, because there are no moose, and no northern lights. And there's Dick apparently trying to escape the camera, trying to hide. And there's the television, because we have no moose or northern lights to look at.
Here's a view of the Wrangell St. Elias mountain. We're heading back to Anchorage. Wrangell St. Elias Mountains. Driving through Wrangell St. Elias
the Matanuska Glacier, which is, well, we lost it, and it's part of the glacier system that surrounds Prince William Sound. The view of the Matanuska Glacier. It's in the Wrangell St. Elias mountain range, the largest in the state, and it goes to the glaciers in Prince William Sound. It's like drizzle out here right now. There's the mountains. And there's the glacier, which goes on and on. Wrangell St. Elias mountain range. This is the area where the Tlinkits live, Maryland Whirlwind tribe. Trees, there are the mountains. Whoa, bumpy road. St. Elias bumpy road. And the Wrangell St. Elias mountain range. Wrangell St. Elias National Park is the largest national park. Wrangell St. Elias is the largest national park and contains 9 of the 16 highest peaks in North America.
However, against man with a rifle, it was just a big target. They could shoot the entire herd and kill them all at one time. So by 1865, Alaska's muskox population had been totally decimated, and it stayed that way until 1930. There was only about 10,000 muskox left shortly after 1865, and all those animals were in Canada and Greenland. In 1930, the state, got Greenland to agree to let them take 34 animals, which were brought around and released out on Nunivak Island. On Nunivak Island, there are no natural predators, so it's kind of the perfect place for muskox. And once the herd there had reached 500 animals, they began using those muskox to establish herds throughout the rest of the state. Herds were taken to Nelson Island, here, the Seward Peninsula, then up to the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, north of the Brooks Range in this region. There's about 3,500 wild in the state at this time, and actually huntable populations out on Nunivak Island, since the herd could actually grow so large it would eat itself out of a home. There's about 170,000 in the world at this time. They're no longer an endangered species. Most of those are still in Canada. Greenland also has, I've heard estimates somewhere ranging around 20,000 or so. And
Susan Butcher, the Iditarod winner, used to be a volunteer here.
This is not a bad time to find you with their horns. We're not going to actually go into the field. We'll go to the chute, so you're not going to stick a hand through the fence. Some of the animals may come up to the fence to where you can feed them. This pen in here is the only one we keep it mowed before, but I'm not a big fan of scooping manure. But we do clean this pen up after these animals. Their systems are in the midst. They've just been weaned off. Basically, they'll go through just like changing a child from one food to the next or to another. Then they may, we call it muskox scours. It's got a totally different name in Chile. Some of that earlier this year. He's doing tons better now, but he had a bit of a toothache. And a toothache in muskox, especially like an abscess tooth, can prove fatal. He's trying to lick up. There's actually Purina muskox chow in that bin. And so he's trying to lick the last of that out of there. Oh, it's basically it's an alfalfa grain pellet, and they absolutely love it. It is, however, whereas content would basically destroy their kidneys. Very unique. Chilkoot is like 600 and something, as I recall. I'm sure everybody's seen the pictures of Dall sheep or bighorn sheep slamming their heads in each other. See, muskox. In comparison, I like to say Dall sheep is the equivalent of like having a couple geos in a demolition derby. Muskox is like having a couple semis in a demolition derby. The animal's more than just a handful. He's pretty nuts. He's actually injured one female this year in his town, so he won't go back in there. Basically, once he gets frustrated, he'll just slam things. But the big guy right up here, you can see the knife, the way it's not sticking out the horns there. This is one of our females, Matique, and she had to be pulled from harem. It doesn't appear to be anything broken or anything like that, but hopefully she'll recover in the next few days and stop limping, and we'll be able to put her in. And then she'll go in with Garth. 390 pounds. Literally lived the whole life without ever being used for breeding at all, even though they were super healthy females. But then on the reverse of that, we've had females make 450 pounds at 2. But generally, it's going to be 3 or possibly even 4 years before they can actually be used for breeding.
They have pretty coats, don't they?
Breeders. If he comes this way, we need to back up. If he does come this way, really, we're going to need to back up and give him some room. Especially, I don't like this fence.
This is very strong, eh?
It really is. These are actually... This post themselves are actually drill stems. I mean, it's an oil tape hard drill stem. So you really should go down and check that. But those people will keep an eye on for it. He's pretty much, that looks like him right there. Standing still in the corner right down next to that water trough. Yeah, that's pretty much him. He's not as big as Garth, actually. Matt, is that attaboy standing by the water trough down there? But you see, we give them tons of room. No one really goes in there to die. Pretty much, if they herd them around, they usually are going to use like a truck or a crane But they just from day one, when they come out, they have a 5-gallon bucket. Very, very similar. The males have much larger claws. And they're different. It's like 4 and 5 years old.
Get the shot.
Fur horns aren't really going to get too much larger than that as far as
back in San Diego, and our big Alaskan adventure has come to an end, and we're all going to make some final comments before we come to a close. And I'll just say that I will never forget the dog sled ride as long as I live. Okay.
The trip was great, but it's always great to be back home in San Diego.
Chris. We had a great time with Chris and Dick, and it was fun being with them anywhere. We had lots of laughs and a lot of fun. And I certainly think it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Not sure I could live there, but I did enjoy it a lot. It was great.
Well, I had a wonderful trip. It was a lot of fun. I agreed with everyone else. The biggest problem I noticed in Alaska, though, I think it was the dry air, tended to shrink my waistline. Either that or the clothes kept shrinking around the waist. The salmon was tremendous. I really enjoyed the meals. The hearty life, they must require big, healthy meals, and we did enjoy that. And beyond that, I think it was really a great trip, and I want to thank you guys for being so great.
That's all, folks. For your additional viewing pleasure, we are including the following outtakes.
See, I'm all ready to go.
Yeah.
And you'll laugh.
Chris is ready.
And it's 101 degrees in here, but you know, when we get there, I'm not the one who's going to freeze my off.
Do I have to
No, you got to say Alaska, or you got to say take one, Alaska, take one.
Okay. Alaska, take one.
Alaska, the final frontier.
Alaska, take 21.
As explored by.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Alaska, take one of N.
4 Pioneer wannabes.
Oh.
Okay.
Alaska, take 28.
In a rented SUV. Here's Carol preparing cookies because we haven't had enough sugar. And we haven't gained enough weight on this trip. And where do you want to go next year, Carol?
I don't know. Let's see. Where could we go? Maybe we'll go to New England.
You want to in the fall?
Yeah, check out the leaves.
Alrighty. That sounds good.
I'd like
Oh, where do you want to go next year?
I hadn't. Northeast, maybe.
Oh, good. Well, we got 2 for the Northeast.
Around Boston in that area.
How about you? Where do you want to go on our next trip?
How about San Diego?
That's not a trip for you.
What?
That's no trip for you. You live here. Oh, you mean you're all traveled out, huh?
Yeah, sure, I didn't think about it.
See? Okay, Max. Come on. Show everybody how you do in your little sled dog booties. Come on. Come on up to there. Come here. That's it. Show everybody how you walk. Oh, yes. Well, no. Walk away from me now. Come on. Let's walk. Walk in your booties. Show everybody how you walk. What's out there? Look out there. What's out there? Come on, walk. Walk out there. That's it. Show everybody how what a high stepper you are in your sled dog booties. Come on. That's it. Show us what a high stepper you are. No, don't take them off.